Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Academy of Healing Nutrition live webinar. I'm Inga, your host for this event. I am Academy graduate, healing nutrition coach, and co-director of the school. Let me just check some features on our presentation. It's not going to be too many slides today. We are just going to have a guest on this webinar. So in my conversations on the phone and at various events that I do for Academy and teaching, I often get questions from people wondering how they can get into the nutrition coaching field. They're really interested in bringing this work out, and they just don't know where they can actually find work, what kind of services they can offer, where to find clients, or what holistic nutrition is anyway. So today I invited my dear friend Nikki Ostrower, another Academy of Healing Nutrition graduate, to share her experiences of working in this field as a nutrition coach for over 6 years now. So I prepared some questions for Nikki that I thought would help you understand a little more about the possibilities of getting involved in this fast-growing field. But I also would like to give you an opportunity to ask Nikki questions at the end of our presentation. As we chat with Nikki, I encourage you to type your questions in the right side panel. You can find that option in your control panel. It should be on the right side. And we can look at them later, all right? So it is exciting time to get into the health coaching field. As I'm observing, the demand for coaches who can guide people through their health challenges and help them to make positive shifts in their health has been steadily growing. Nutrition coaching indeed can open many doors for you and offer many opportunities. If you are new to nutrition coaching, today you will get a glimpse at the experience of a real-life practitioner. But before I actually give a word to Nikki, I would like to make a little of a more official introduction. So, Nikki Ostrower is Academy of Healing Nutrition graduate and has been practicing as a holistic nutrition coach since 2008. From the moment you step through the door of Now Nutrition, her company, it is clear how much Nikki loves what she does. Whether it's working with a new private client or facilitating support groups for those who wish to better nurture their bodies, Nikki brings an incredible energy to everything she does. Her true passion in life is helping others nourish themselves healthfully and with joy. Nikki is dedicated to educating and guiding anyone who seeks a truly holistic balance in their lives. Her business, Now Nutrition, was founded to extend and enable this mission. Driven by Nikki's passion and commitment, Now believes that the cornerstones of optimal health and well-being are healthy eating practices and lifestyle choices. Nikki's compassion, expertise, and commitment helps each client to transform their relationship to food and health. In addition to her training at the Academy of Healing Nutrition, Nikki Ostrower also earned a Bachelor of Science in Business from the University of Binghamton. Nikki is recurring special guest with the NYU Child Study Center on Sirius Satellite Radio's Doctor Radio Show. She's also a contributing writer for HonestBaby.com, the food and wellness expert for SustainLane.com. She has also appeared in several nationwide publications like Lucky Magazine, and was featured in a documentary on eating disorders by Academy Award nominated director Nathaniel Kahn. Nikki also consults for Energy Excellence, a corporate wellness company where she does corporate nutrition presentations to large and small audiences. In this capacity, she has worked with everyone from Nordea Bank and traveled to Scandinavia to the Consulate General of Denmark. Wow, Nikki, this is really impressive. You've done a lot of good work in the past few years.
Thank you. It's so exciting to be here too.
Thank you for finding some time in your busy schedule and tune in with us here.
It is my pleasure.
Okay. I've known you for several years since we went to school together at the academy, and you have a really interesting background story. Can you share with our listeners what made you decide to become a holistic nutrition coach?
Sure. Well, actually, ever since I was a little girl, I've always had a passion for health, wellness, and nutrition. But in my family, when we grew up, it was kind of unacceptable to go into that field. My whole family was in business. So, the direction that I was given is you go to business school, and then when you graduate, you go into a career, whether it's accounting, finance, marketing, anything business related. So that's exactly what I did. I actually started out with a Fortune 100 company selling technology, specifically software solutions to large corporations. And throughout this entire time, ever since I was a little girl, I also had an eating disorder. And it took shape in the form of first it was anorexia, then it turned into bulimia and night eating and restricting, binging, purging, you name it, for several years. And working in corporate America, because the schedule was always so intense, I worked from literally like 7 o'clock in the morning and sometimes didn't get home till about 12 a.m., sometimes even 1 a.m. It just took a real toll on my body. And I was always either acting out on the eating disorder, I was drinking, I was eating on the fly. And that's when I really started to deteriorate. I became so anxious and depressed, and my whole body started to break down. My hair was falling out. I couldn't think properly. And thank God for working actually in that corporate industry, because I had great health insurance and I needed to go inpatient. So I went to an inpatient facility in Arizona, which was one aspect that saved my life. It was an intensive 6-week program where I really got to heal heal my brain and my body at the same time. And that was also when I had the aha moment of, you can still be in business, but you can actually also do what you're passionate about doing. So that's actually when I decided to merge the two, business and nutrition. So when I got back from the treatment facility, I actually did take some time to heal. And about 6 months into healing, while I was home in New York City, I started to research different places. But that was really how I decided to kind of take that risk into what would it be like and what would it actually take to become a holistic practitioner.
Interesting.
So,
So, I actually speak with people on the phone a lot here at Academy, and one of the questions I get from people is, what makes our program different from other holistic nutrition programs? So, and I know this myself because I went through the same experience of making this choice and looking for different schools at that time. What made you choose the Academy of Healing Nutrition program out of all the other courses and programs that you researched?
well, I have to tell you, Inga, I am quite the researcher. So
I
this
believe
was
you.
searching for the right school for me was a really big deal, and it took a lot of research and time and visiting a whole lot of different schools, and not just holistic schools. I actually looked into Hunter, NYU, and Columbia and was considering getting an RD because I thought that in order to specialize in eating disorder and disordered eating patterns and digestive distress, that you had to have those two letters, RD.
Hmm.
But I actually ended up taking my GREs, which you need to get in order to go to a master's program. And I started to take the courses at Hunter. When, thank God, very early on, I realized that going the traditional route of getting a master's was not the type of program which aligned with my beliefs of traditional healing. And so that's when I decided to also look at, I looked at all the other holistic schools, and, um, I have to tell you, it was a no brainer for me, like hands down. And actually, the Academy of Healing Nutrition was the last orientation that I had gone to. And I went to a live orientation And from the minute I walked into the door, I met the founder. I met some of the other women and men that were interested. And then there was also a chef there that did a healing foods demonstration. I knew that I found a place that I could call home, that I can call an education that was going to take me where I wanted to be and where I needed to be. And so from that moment, I actually put down my deposit, and that was it. And I never looked back. I never looked back. It was one of the best decisions, again, aside from going into treatment. Going to the Academy of Healing Nutrition was another element that saved my life emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Awesome. Your story actually reminds me a little bit of mine because I was also looking for more of a degree at the time, and I really wanted to bring out my passion about herbs and nutrition and healing, and I wanted to start a business, but I had no business background. So I was looking actually at business schools, and I actually applied. To a couple of business schools here in New York and NYU and Baruch, and I was waiting for results, but then I found Academy brochure and I went to the very last open house that they had before the program was beginning. And it was so funny. When I went there, it was the right moment for me. And I just, like you said, I left a deposit and never looked back. And, it's really funny that sometimes we think that we need some serious degree to actually bring our passion out to the people, but sometimes we just need the right kind of training to instill confidence in our own knowing that we already know enough, and that with just some help we can actually do great things. And I know it's been some time since you did the course, but what were the highlights of the training for you?
One of the highlights was that the course for me was live. I loved and I looked forward to each of the sessions. It was once a month for the entire weekend, and it was just such an intimate setting where we were learning real old traditional modalities of healing practices. And that wasn't something that was offered in the other schools. Another thing that I learned is, and which is quite funny, is I learned what my body type was. And in Ayurvedic, I'm a Vata. And when I learned all about the Vata body type and mind, I had this huge aha moment that I was eating and being everything wrong for what my traditional body type was. And there's one instance where it was actually a cooking day, and Melanie, who was the chef at the time, she made this huge stew, and she pointed me out. She's like, "Nikki, this is for you Vata types." And so when we sat down to eat, I took a couple of spoonfuls and everyone was kind of looking at me, and my whole body just completely shifted. It was like a healing in motion that everyone can notice. It was mind blowing to really feel and see the reaction of having a healing food for my body type and noticing it. Because another thing that I learned in school is how to really be the observer of my own mind and body, so that I can detect, how are these foods making my body feel, and, how to make those shifts and changes. Another really cool thing was, I don't know about you guys, but, I live in the city. I used to have a very small kitchen. I didn't own a pot or a pan. In my family, it was, my mom taught me how to make a reservation. Not how to cook any food. So what was interesting again is not only did they teach us how to cook healing foods, but it was actually, because it was hands-on, it was something that I can be like, oh, I can do that too. And it was demonstrated in a very simple way that I could really understand, because I was really coming from a place where I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't own, like I was saying, a pot or a pan. And it turned out, you remember, I was engaged at the time, and the instructor actually helped me to um, plan out my wedding registry so that I can get all the right pots and pans and blenders and mixing bowls. And that was really fun and cool.
That's amazing. Quite timely, huh?
Yeah. And then last but not least, you guys did such a great job at teaching coaching. You could have all the skills for learning about health and wellness and traditional healing modalities, have all these aha moments. And one of my concerns that was addressed was, how can I actually put this into action for my own business? Because here I am, I'm taking a huge risk, quitting my job and wanting to create my own business. However, what is that going to look like and how do I do that? And, it was such a well-rounded, very structured way of teaching, not just about the food, but also business and coaching and branding and marketing, things of that nature.
So you mentioned something that you were taking a risk quitting your job. So what did you actually do before you started the program?
So I worked in sales for a huge corporate 100 company where I sold software solutions to other companies. So I was in business. I did already know how to, I guess, be with other people. So that was definitely an advantage. However, I wasn't really in business. I wasn't doing business to business any longer. With coaching and one-on-one coaching, it was, individual one-on-one. So it was definitely a very big leap.
Hmm. I'm actually noticing this big trend where people are just not happy leading the kind of 9 to 5 lifestyle anymore, and they're seeking for options that realize themselves, more fully with all of their passion transmitted to other people. And they are indeed making this transitions from doing work that they're not passionate about into a new career in holistic field. And sometimes it's really a difficult challenge. How did you manage this transition?
It was a huge risk. I won't lie. Like, there was a lot of fear involved. However, instead of using fear, I love this acronym. Fear, like FEAR, could be fuck everything and run, or face everything and, recover. And so I took fear as a motivator to keep pressing forward. And what I did was I kept it in the day. Like, as soon as I started to look into the future, I would psych myself out of things. I'm like, no, 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 you're not good enough. You're not going to be able to do this. There's so many other people who are already out there doing this. How am I going to compete? Um, but I remember I would make these, lists of different action items that just needed to be done either today or tomorrow. And when I would find myself, veering in a direction of poor me, I can't do this, and into the future, I would do something loving for myself. I would be like, okay, you need to take a break and take care of yourself. Call someone that lights you up and makes you laugh. And so I surrounded myself with other like-minded people that were up to really big things in their lives, and we would cheer each other on, and that is really what kept me going.
Awesome. And I remember at the time when when we just finished the school, and we were still fresh and kind of with our dreams to do this work. And we were meeting. You remember that time we were meeting with other classmates in the restaurant, and
Yeah.
I remember you were saying that you started doing some corporate workshops. So that was really interesting. Like right after finishing this school, you went back to your corporate environment and started offering your services right there.
Yeah, I figured, why not dive in? I didn't necessarily, in the very beginning, I didn't charge any money. I really wanted to get constructive feedback. And so I just approached anyone and everyone and say, hey, who wants a consultation? And let me tell you, there was no shortage of hands being raised, my phone ringing saying, hey, let's do this. And from that, that just gave me a lot of courage, hope, strength, and confidence that, and also training that I can do this.
Hmm.
And until I really decided to take on, full on clients once I graduated.
So how soon did you start seeing clients after graduating, and how did your practice in general take off?
I started seeing clients, well, I started seeing freebie clients during, and then I started seeing clients at a very, very low rate, right when I graduated. Like I didn't take any downtime, and then it's a lot of work starting your own business. So I spent a lot of my time going to networking events,
Hmm.
and then I also got involved with companies that provide health fairs for corporations. So it's actually you provide a table at a company where you could do mini health consultations, and you're doing it for free, but you get clients from it. So or you get your name out there. The whole idea is to not focus on the money. The money will come. It's better to focus on networking, getting your name out there, getting experience coaching, and worrying about the rest later. Setting up a website, getting onto social media, um, setting up free events, going into Whole Foods, seeing if they have events, checking out other people's events too to see what they're doing, and getting inspiration. So that's really what I did in order to get my business going. And then, throughout the years, it was, a lot of referrals.
Hmm.
So, my clients would talk to their friends and family, and, I do a lot of social media, I do a lot of events, and that's what keeps the business flowing. Clients, it's not like a massage client where you have them forever. My thing is I want my clients to graduate. So there is that challenge of, you're always looking for, new clients. And I guess it's been such a blessing because to watch my business grow throughout these years, that now I just hired a nutritionist, another holistic practitioner, to come on board, as well as I have an intern working for me, which is really cool.
So you're expanding. That's fantastic. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting that you can do so many things with this career, with this practice, and it's not limited to just one thing. And I know that you like to see clients one on one, but I also know other students or graduates that are doing other things. They are either doing and focusing completely on workshops, or they're after some time of working, just
Hold
writing
on.
their a
Inga,
book.
I'm so sorry. Hold on. We're
Sure.
training a chocolate Labrador to be a therapy dog. Give me 1 second.
Sure. So I was saying to you guys that there are so many possibilities of doing this work, and a lot of people now are focusing on bringing their business, their practice completely online, and the technology is allowing us to do it these days. And you can set up a website and offer different programs, or even create products or packages. So it's not just limited to just seeing clients one on one. However, I know that Nikki was really interested in doing this one on one work. And what I wanted to ask her is one of the logistical questions, which often comes up when people are just setting up their practice, their live practice, their physical location practice, where she's actually based, like where she's seeing the clients. So,
I
Hmm.
have two offices. One is in Greenwich Village, and then I also work from home because I have this fantastic, gorgeous kitchen. So I find that a lot of clients, they learn the way that they learn where it sticks is by show and tell, tasting, getting in the kitchen, cooking a little bit. And it's so ironic because if you were to ever ask me if I were to be in the kitchen, let alone be teaching others how to feel confident in the kitchen, I would have thought that you were crazy. My college friends actually thought that it's they called me a fire hazard in the kitchen. So those are the two locations that I work from, and it really works for me. So
Hmm. So, who are your clients? Do you have a specialty that you work with?
I do. I would say 75% of my practice is men, women, and children with eating disorders, as well as digestive disorders.
Hmm. And I saw on your website you also do some, besides the corporate workshops and working with people one-on-one, you also offer, what is it, like retreats or boot camps for couples? Do you still do something like that? It's really interesting.
I do. So I work with a personal trainer.
Hmm.
So we do a bride and groom boot camp, which is such a blast. The bride and groom will come to me for all their health and wellness needs. And then the personal trainer sets up their fitness routine. So, and yeah, we do, I've done trips to the farm with the family. I've also gone into family's home, which I call a VIP gut renovation. And it's usually over the course of 6 months, and the whole family gets involved. We clean out their kitchen cabinets, we go over and eat this, not that. Um, I purchased the kids like these cute chef hats, and we do hands on cooking with all of their new ingredients, and we have a blast together.
That
So,
sounds really
yeah,
nice. Yeah.
like you were saying, there's so much that you could do with this certification. Last year, I actually started a company called Stable Eats, which was creating almond milk. But it was an almond milk that it was very versatile.
Hmm.
So it didn't have as much sugar as you would see in like, the organic avenues or the juice press, so that it could be more, like more versatile. And it was also in a 32-ounce jar. Unfortunately, that business didn't work out, which was, always when things don't work out, usually it's a blessing in disguise. You
Right.
learn so much from that experience. You're not a failure at all. But you're always evolving and growing from each experience, which I think is so fascinating.
Yeah, it's just an opportunity to reinvent yourself all over again and continue going and looking for other ways to express your individuality.
Hmm.
So, and it's interesting to see how you used your personal healing journey and your story to actually help people with the same kind of problem. Because sometimes people are not sure what they can bring out to others and what they can be really good at. And often your own health challenge is what makes a really unique specialty for you, and you are really proficient in it because you have been dealing with it yourself. So it's really nice to see that you are really working with people who you can relate to.
Yeah, it's been such a blessing. And I think that my clients actually love that they know that I've, been healing and in recovery from an eating disorder because they know I get it. Like I've been there, and it gives them so much hope that if I can do it, that they can do it.
Did you notice by any chance any similarities in common concerns or problems when you work with individuals with eating disorders?
Well, yeah, for sure. They have a lot of anxiety around food, and any type of situation, whether it's with another person or going out to dinner or having meals around the office or having food in the house, can be triggering. And what I mean by triggering is it triggers something within them that creates them to act out on their eating disordered symptoms, whether it be restricting, binging and purging, binging, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they also, from a physical standpoint, they usually have a lot of digestive distress, whether it's caused from all of the internal turmoil, stress, and also from not feeding their minds and their body properly. So I really tackle it from a mind, body, spirit approach so that they can feel confident that they're healing all aspects of their life and they can feel confident about the food, most importantly.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Maybe one last question. What is you think the main secret to your success?
I think the main secret to my success is that I am so passionate and committed to my clients and my practice that everything else falls into place.
That sounds really nice. Can you tell our audience how they can find more about you or get in touch with you?
Sure. So I'm all over social media. Twitter is, the handle at Now Nutrition. Facebook, again, just, type in Now Nutrition. Instagram at Now Nutrition. Pinterest. And I also have a bunch of reviews on Yelp. But, if you have any questions, you can also go onto my website, which is www.naonutrition.com. You'll see the contact button, and so, you can fill out the form, ask your questions, and it always gets forwarded to my email. And I always answer all my emails within 24 hours, unless I'm away or it's a Sunday. Otherwise, no matter what question it is, big, small, you think it's stupid, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Feel free to contact me anytime.
Great. So now I guess I will just see if there are any questions from the audience. And while we are waiting for questions, I would just like to mention a couple of things about our program. And uh, we start the program again in October. October 4th, 5th is our first weekend. And the program is a 10-month course. We start in October and in June. So right now is the perfect time to jump in for this year. And for those of you who registered for this webinar today, we offer a $300 discount on tuition if you honor this momentum and just jump into our program. You will never look back, and none of our students have ever looked back, and always were very happy about this decision. So if you think that you're ready to make this step, we invite you to send us an email. It's right on your screen right now, enroll at academyhealingnutrition.com. If you have any questions about the course or would like to speak with our course coordinator, we invite you to also call us. Our number is 646-812-0091. And it's a really busy time for us. If you are in New York and can attend one of our open houses, we invite you to come out on September 23rd at 7:30. We're giving an open house in the midtown of Manhattan. And then we have another one right before the program begins on October 2nd, also at 7:30. So we hope to connect with you live or going further into the program. And let's see if we have any questions for Nikki right now. Okay, so here's a question from Tracy. She's asking, what do you say to those who have insurance and can't afford to pay for your consultations?
So actually, I am an LLC. So I'm
Hmm.
incorporated and it's under consulting, like health and wellness. So a lot of companies, if you subscribe to your flexible savings account, then I would say 75% of these companies will reimburse you. So it becomes a tax deductible.
Hmm.
However, it comes up, but you're offering a service that is invaluable. So what I always say is I just say, I'm really sorry. I don't offer health insurance. However, let me tell you a little bit more about my program. When they hear
Hmm.
about the program, they get excited, and it's really not an issue because they are they're investing in their health, and it's worth it.
Right. So, and this is the approach actually these days. There's a shift in just the way we approach our health. If before it was a reactive approach where we get sick and then we go to the doctor or we start looking for ways, this is totally different. This is more of going into the realm of preventive medicine. As they say, the doctor of the future will not prescribe medicine, but will teach his patient in ways of good lifestyle and diet. So we are indeed the doctors of the future, and
And
it's
you're
all.
saving
Mhm.
money in the long run too.
Right, exactly. You're investing in your health now so that later you can enjoy better health into the ripe old age.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see if we have any other questions here. Okay, we have a question from Ashley. Ashley is asking, how many clients do you see per week?
It ranges. I was seeing about 20, 25 a week, but that was a little bit too much for me, I realized. So now I keep it to only between 15 and 17, 18 a week.
Hmm. Okay, thank you, Nikki. Let's see. Do you guys have any other questions? I'm waiting just for a couple more questions here.
Sure.
Um, can you tell us a little bit more how you work with your clients? What is the structure that you're using?
Sure. So the initial consultation is typically hour, hour and a half, and I usually email them a questionnaire and some food journals so they can fill that out in advance. And then they can either email it to me if they're doing a Skype or a phone session, or they can just bring it with them to their first session. And the first initial consultation is all about me getting to know the client, all of them, from their health history to foods they dislike, any family history of diseases, the health challenges that they're having, their goals, and then, of course, their lifestyle. So, my whole approach is to create a healing food structure for them that's going to assimilate into their already existing lifestyle. And what that means is that it's realistic. Like if someone comes to me and they're like, I'm working around the clock, I travel all the time, and I don't cook, I'm not going to give them a food structure that involves cooking. I actually also will ask them in the future, are you open to learning how to cook or lightly prepare? And if they're open to it, then that's an opportunity for me to take them into the kitchen so that they can see how easy it is. But to start out, I always create a healing structure based around their current lifestyle. And so typically we'll meet, depending on what they have, like someone with an eating disorder, you know, they need to come in at least once a week. because if we do every other week, it's too much time in between each session, and then it's a big chance that they can slip back into their eating disorder.
Hmm.
However, if it's someone that is, really wants to learn how to eat right for their specific body type, it could be, anywhere from, every other week, or, once a week in the beginning, and then a step down to every other week. But I always encourage them to usually buy a package, and a package allows them to really commit to their health and wellness. So it's a very complete and whole approach, so that by the time we're done with their package, they feel so confident, and they also have tools that will last them a lifetime.
Hmm.
And to
Thank
watch their transformation is such a gift. It really is. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love my career is, watching all of the healing, them transform, having the aha moments. People will come to my office for the first session, and their heads will be down, they're intimidated, they're scared. And then I watch them walk out with this, with this glimpse of hope and excitement.
That's really nice. Tracy is asking another question, uh, and I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but here's her question. Do you think that clients respond better to your services when you're helping them cook meals as opposed to telling them what's best to eat?
It really depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
It's, of course, I would love to see them get into cooking. So I do encourage cooking at some point, but everyone's so different. So it really is dependent on that person and what they're open to.
Right, and I think it's a really important thing to learn how to cook, and it doesn't necessarily mean a full-blown gourmet cuisine type of cooking, but some simple meals are some simple things that you can quickly fix in your own house, in your own kitchen, because the healing really happens in the kitchen. Kitchen is that center of the home that represents nourishment. And until you actually understand the purpose of nourishing yourself and giving that attention to yourself by properly preparing your food, I think that healing will not be complete. So it's really important to educate clients um, to understand how to cook their food, and it is part of a coach's job to introduce simple recipes that can be staples for people who are not familiar with cooking. Like Nikki mentioned, um, her first time of trying Melanie's stew, that I'm sure was your staple for some time, Nikki.
Oh my God, it totally was. Yeah. And bone broth is still a staple for me right now. Yeah, I agree. Cooking is really important. However, you also don't want to scare the client away in the beginning.
Hmm.
So you want to work with what they're willing to do. And then as they see that when someone starts to heal, it's not just in their body, but it's in their mind. And when someone sees that, they're like, oh, I don't have time, I'm so busy. But when you're taking care of yourself first, all of a sudden you become more effective and efficient in every area of your life, that all of a sudden time starts to show up more, and you become more open. You're like, okay, well, if I could do this food structure, then you become a lot more open to cooking and diving into, what would it be like to create fun and adventure, yet simplicity in the kitchen, like exactly what I did for
Right.
myself.
And it's kind of an evolution of your diet, how it happens. And the
Mm-hmm.
more you start healing yourself, the more you start loving yourself and wanting only the best things for yourself. And this is where it brings you back into the kitchen, because the love is happening in the kitchen.
Yes, totally.
Okay, Tracy, I hope your question was answered. And Let's see if we have one last question, maybe, because we are running out of time here. Okay, I don't have any more questions. So we'll say thank you to Nikki, and we hope to see you guys at either one of our open houses, or if you're thinking to do this program, give us a call or email, and somebody will get back to you. And thank you so much for being on this webinar with us today, and have a great rest of the day for you. Thank you,
Bye.
Nikki.
You're
Bye.
so welcome. Bye.
Thank you.